This might look like one of the most redneck backyards you've ever seen, but it's also, let's see, what does this say up here? Oh yeah, it's the walkway to the paint shed in Archer. Let's see if anybody's home here. Ooh, not yet, but soon will be. Wow, blank canvases, more stuff, neatly organized at one time. I can only stay neatly organized for like 5 seconds. Then it's not neatly organized anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to be working on today is the Queen of Hearts, and I'm going to be using Derwent Inktense pencils. They're amazing, amazing, amazing. Unlike just, ooh, there we go. Unlike some watercolor pencils, once, watch this. Once they've been activated, they're permanent. So I did this part of my picture a few days ago. Looks like I still had a little bit of pigment that hadn't been activated. You can see a little bit of green coming through, but not a lot. Okay. So we'll start working on this Queen of Hearts, and I'm going to be using I think I'll use a cherry red for her. And I was watching somebody else's video the other day and realized that I need to keep a sharp point on my pencils. So here I am outlining this, and I've discovered that I don't need to lay down as much pigment as I have been. So my watercolor teacher, Maggie, she's the one that brought supplies to class and handed them out. And part of the supplies included a piece of tracing paper. And so when some people, like one of my sisters, my dear sister, kind of gets her nose in the air about tracing. It's like, remember? Maggie's the one that gave us the tracing paper as part of our watercolor supplies. So, okay, I know, it depends on the project. Some projects are great to freehand. They lend themselves to that kind of creative process. Something this detailed, for me, I want the backup plan. When I found my image online, it's black and white, so I can, well, it doesn't matter if it was colored or not. I can interpret it any way I'd like. So here I have, and at this point, it may just look like, oh, this paper is cold pressed paper, and it's really rough. I don't know if you can see down here. See, let's see if we can do this. Yeah. See how there's lots of texture? There's a lot of texture to the paper. All right, let's watch what happens when we add a little water. So here I am, and blending, activating, the pigment. And if this were a regular watercolor pencil, the pigment stays water soluble. Even after it's dried. Okay, so there's one heart. And this one's going to be kind of tricky. Usually at this point I take off my glasses and hold the paper right up to my nose. That's how nearsighted I am to do this kind of detailing work. But since I couldn't do that and hold my phone all at the same time, it's not going to happen today. Okay. Now, I'm going to push this up here, and you can see that for just a few seconds, the pigment on my brush I can still apply it to the paper and actually get something. And then after it has set, even for just a few seconds, you can see that it isn't going to, I'm not going to be able to work with it at all. So there we go. There's another example of how these pencils work. The other day, Bart was cleaning the bedroom. No, it's a big old surprise. Not that the bedroom was getting cleaned. And not really that he was one doing it. But anyway, so he found some watercolor pencils that I bought last summer. And here is an example of, whoops, a red one. And you can see it is activated just like the other one is. It stays workable for quite a long time. We'll let that set for a minute while we come back up here and work on a couple more hearts. You can see, I don't know if you can, yes you can see, definitely. You can see that there's just a lot of water on this little gal right now. I'm going to take my brush and pick up some of that excess water so that I don't take the chance of it deciding to run away on some other part of the paper that I don't want to be red. So keeping this heart looking like it's sitting in her hand. And this piece I am making for a friend of mine as a Please Remember Me gift. I have worked with her in the school district for the last 8 years, and she's definitely a queen of my heart. And she's never on social media, so I'm pretty sure that this can be posted and it'll still be a surprise. So and you notice that I had a lot of water on this little heart on her chest, and then I lifted some of the water off of it, and can you see that the color is not as intense because I lifted it. Now we're going to go back to the regular watercolor pencil. We're going to see if I can still hydrate it and move the pigment around on the paper, and the answer is yes. So that is the difference between regular watercolor and these Inktense pencils, because now that this pigment has dried, it has become more permanent than the regular. Right. I'm gonna see if I can speed this up. I can't. Okay, well that's the end of this one.